Hello guys, I am back with another video, and if you guys have been following me on shorts, you know what this is about. Today we are looking at the signs as poems. If you don't know what that means, I am an author, I am a poet, I love writing poetry, and when I think of the signs as poems, it feels very romantic and artistic, and because astrology itself is sort of beautifully mystical and almost like art in itself, also a science in itself, but since it's so artistic and so romantic with all its symbols, all of the depth that each sign carries, I just wanted to sort of present an ode to each sign with a poem that I think resonates with it the most. If you know what your moon sign and your rising sign is, you would probably want to go and look at those poems as well, because somewhere maybe if you're into astrology, they could resonate with you. If you're not into astrology, you might actually feel like you do like those poems somehow, right? I have actually put a lot of thought and a lot of research into this for each sign and their the way they feel things, the way they act on things, the kind of things that call to them. So, yeah, but this is just for fun, right? Let me know in the comments what you feel the poem for your sign was like. Did you resonate with it? Did you like it? Did you already know this poem or was it new? If you're into poetry, you could just let me know how you like these poems, alright? And if you have any of your own great suggestions for like good, epic, like old school poetry, please leave them in there because I like any excuse to watch or hear or read anything poetry related. So, yeah, let's get into it. Okay, the first sign is Aquarius. Aquarians, I feel, are like intellectual depth, being very connected to the unknown, having a thought pattern that is on altogether another level, and then having like a thirst for knowledge and having a thirst for experience, and having a feeling of being very breezy, very chill, very relaxed with everything. And even so, I think that is obviously because of the air element in their sign, because Aquarius is an air sign. But I think it's also but I think with that chill and with that airy feeling about them, they have a depth. They have like a almost as if like a cosmic feeling about them, as if there's so much in there. It's not like somebody who's just jolly and laughing all the time. They have an understanding of things. Poem for Aquarius is, it's from Khalil Gibran. Every human being can desire and desire and desire still more, until that desire tears away the veil of appearances covering his eyes, and he can finally see his essence. He will then be able to see the abstract substance of life. For all essence is abstract substance of life. I don't know, guys. I think that really has an Aquarian feeling to it. I don't know. That's the one I chose for Aquarius. The next one is Pisces. My Pisceans, my sweet, delusional. Not delusional, but like dreamy Pisceans. I've always seen Pisces people in their own world, dreaming, thinking, creating beautiful things, making art, listening to music. Breezy, breezy, breezy. But then there's a feeling of deep emotional understanding to them. And there's also a very subtle feeling of earthy wildness. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess the poem will. It's called She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace, which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And on that cheek and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent. A mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. I I think that's very Pisces. Very, 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 very Pisces. Okay. I don't know how else to explain it when I read this poem. The first time I read this poem, I was like, that's a very Pisces poem. Alright. I didn't even have to like think over it again and again. It was mm. Next, we have Aries. I think Aries are the ones that you always remember, the ones who have a clear feeling about them, the ones that have a vision. And for them, I have chosen Immortality by Claire Harnett. Do not stand by my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am the thousand winds that blow. I am the diamond glints in snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. As you wake with morning's hush, I am the swift upflinging rush of quiet birds in circling flight. I am the day transcending night. Do not stand by my grave and cry, I am not there, I did not die. Isn't that very Aries? The Aries would be like, I did not die, okay? Even after they're dead, like, their funeral has to be a party. I don't know if it's appropriate to say that, but like, I think that's what they're like. I have an Aries moon, so I know my funeral has to be a party. It has to be fun, okay? It has to be like you cry a little, whatever, and then you dance. Anyways, next we have Taurus. Now, as a Sagittarius, I find it hard to understand Tauruses sometimes. But what I do understand about them is their innate earthiness, their very earthly presence and aura. And I know that Taurians are usually spoken of as super materialistic and stuff, and I know they like to be comfortable and I know they like luxury, but there's something about them that also feels very naturally earthy and raw, if you know what I mean. Like their stubbornness even is raw. It's almost like wild. It's almost like earthly, raw, and real. They have a way about them. They have like this foundational way about them that makes them feel very much solid and rooted. And from there, I chose a poem by Virginia Woolf. I don't know if this one has a name. I think it's sort of an extract from her diary, but this is how it goes. I need solitude. I need space. I need air. I need the empty fields round me and my legs bounding along roads and sleep and an animal existence. I know, guys, I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say here, but I think that's a very Taurus poem. It just reminds me of them, and I don't honestly go with the usual things that are like, traits about the signs and whatever. I go with what I think is real in terms of how they feel, and I think poetry is about feeling. It's not about traits, it's not about the stereotypical sign, it's about the feeling and the essence of that sign, if you know what I mean. But the next one is Gemini. I like Geminis, they're fun, I guess. Okay, Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to know that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. The reason I chose this is one, obviously, because of the opposites of fire and ice. And I think even though the Gemini is a twin, they have an opposition about them. They are fire and ice. They are super out there and friendly and fun, but they are the loner too. They are somebody who would choose peace over everything, and they are somebody who would get into a fight if they're like really mad, or if they've been really disrespected, or if they think something really wrong is going on. Like, that's how I've seen Geminis. I think they have a great paradox about them. They have a great difference within themselves, and it's rather interesting to watch. I think the reason that I chose this poem is because I think Geminis are also very smart. I think they're very smart and they're very capable of understanding perspectives because they have that within themselves as well. So, yeah, I'm just explaining why I chose certain poems because I think that way it resonates better. Anyways, my dear Cancerians, the Cancerian poem is The Recycled Soul River. There had to be water, trust me. There had to be. Am I not a river, one that ebbs and flows into new and old bodies of myself, one that rises and falls, recycled, renewed, returned, from vapor to vast waves, repeated day after day? I hope I don't forget the river that I am on the days that I am rain. This is by Easel Jane. The reason I chose this poem is because Cancerians feel like they're always in a flow. They feel like the water cycle is personified in their bodies. They're always going from one flow to another, always liquid, always moving, always feeling, always changing, and not changing and like becoming something new. They have versions of themselves that they shift into. over and over again. I think they are also very unaware of how much they are capable of, and so the reminder that the author is trying to give herself, or water is trying to give itself, is that I hope I don't forget the river that I am on the days that I am rain. So I think it kind of almost feels like a Kinsarian talking. Like they know their power, they know their worth, and they also know how easy it is for them to flow into one thing from another. And so remembering all that they have is something I feel they have to constantly do, so that they can get back into those things and remind themselves that they are capable of things that they forgot about, right? Right. Next one is Leo. For Leos, I have chosen The Sun by Mary Oliver. Have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun every evening, relaxed and easy, floats towards the horizon and into the clouds or the hills or the rumpled sea, and is gone, and how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world, like a red flower streaming upward on its heavenly oils. Say, on a morning in early summer and its perfect imperial dance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love? Do you think there is anywhere in any language a word bellowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out, as it warms you, as you stand there, empty handed? Or have you too turned from this world? The sun is an obvious metaphor for our beloved Leos, the center of attention, the ones that the world revolves around. And I think the main reason I've chosen this poem is not even because of that. That plays a part. But Leos have this immense warmth about them. And I'm talking about all of the signs as evolved people, right? As people who've done some inner work kind of people, good people. So, Leos as good people is immense warmth, kindness, acceptance, a sort of taking under one's wing sort of feeling. If you have a Leo friend, you would know that whenever they're around, it's almost as if the sun has risen and it's day. My people, it's daytime, okay? You are not sleeping when the Leo is around. You are only sleeping when they are sleeping. Otherwise, it's day. Daytime all the time. And there is this freshness and this warmth and this bright energy that they bring to everything. And I guess that is why I chose this poem for them. The next one is Virgos. And for my Virgos, I have chosen Secret Keepers by Erin Hansen. I think stars have heard more secrets than a pair of human ears. They are trusted with our troubles and are the guards of all our fears. Perhaps we share with them our sorrows, for they too have known the night, yet they've learned to let the darkness simply emphasize their light. Now, I've chosen this poem for the Virgos because one thing that I always notice about them is their kindness and their willingness to help and be a good friend. A lot of signs are talked about in this way of being like a good friend, but I think Virgos are really good at just being there without being too imposing and listening to you and being kind to you and being helpful if you need help, if you genuinely need help. They are also people who seem to have dealt with whatever darkness that they're faced with. And I think Virgos always have this habit of like making things better, clearing up energy, almost as if transmuting darkness into beauty. And I had this Virgo friend who writes poetry too. I've seen her do that. I think Virgos are like, how I just talked about the Leos as the sun and like bright and there. The Virgo is like stars. There, twinkling, never in your way. And if you need them, always there, always mellow and there. Okay, next we have Libra. Okay, ठीक है. For the Libras, the poem is by Sarah Teasdale. There will come soft rains, and this is a poem she wrote during wartime, and that has a reason. There will come soft rains and the smell of the ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound, and frogs in the pools singing at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, whistling their whims on a low fence wire, and not one will know of the war. Not one will care at last when it is done. Not one would mind neither bird nor tree if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone. The reason I chose this poem for my Libras is one, because of all the charming things that are talked about. And I feel Libras possess the charm that springtime possesses. They have this way of making you feel butterflies and happy things and making you blush and making you happy, making you feel special and at peace. And another reason I chose this poem is because of how Libras possess that quality of nature that wants peace. I know that it's sort of shown in a way that Libras don't like to confront, and even though that is true to some extent, but I think in an evolved sense, Libras want peace. And they like for things to be happy and peaceful and mellow and enjoyable and just relaxed. And that quality is very much like nature, like springtime, like a pleasant day. You would never think of a Libra as a storm. So that is for my Libras. The next one is for the Scorpios. And I have Venus in Scorpio. So, I know that this resonates, alright? This resonates. This is The Dance by Nikita Gill. I will not have you without the darkness that hides within you. I will not let you have me without the madness that makes me. If our demons cannot dance, neither can we. I think from the surface of it, this poem does possess the intensity of the Scorpio. It does possess the intensely loving side of the Scorpio, the serious, the mystical, the powerful love that a Scorpio has. But I think an evolved Scorpio also has the understanding that acceptance of a person in their whole is so important for loving them. You cannot have a beautiful partnership, a loving partnership with a person if you are not in full acceptance of their darkness. And I think that is the most beautiful thing about a Scorpio. And yeah, I think Scorpios in themselves are so much and so deep that you honestly don't need to say much about them. They don't even need to say that much when they first meet you. It's like intensity zone. Anyways, let's go on to the next one. Sagittarians, my bros. I'm a Sagittarius, okay? And for the Sagittarians, I chose Tempest. You saw a maiden on a cliff, above the sea, all dressed in white, as, raging in the stormy mist, the waves and shore were locked in fight, as bolts of lightning flashed and poured a crimson glow about her shape, as round her head the tempest roared, and winds assailed her streaming cape. O splendid sea and storm and mist, O gleaming heavens flashing free, and yet the maiden on the cliff outshines the sky and storm and sea. Number one reason of choosing this poem for Sagittarians is because of the ever present, undying need for running off to the edge of the world. And this is so innate and so there. It's like an urgency to move. Everybody knows that Sagittarians love to travel, right? What I think you don't know is how much of a craving it is for Sagittarians to run off into the wild. Run off and like go somewhere and know something different that they don't know. And the reason I chose this poem about the maiden standing on the edge of the cliff is because I think for Sagittarians, the only time they would actually stop is when they reach that edge of the cliff, metaphorically or in reality, and they're surrounded by utter wildness and adventure and adrenaline and just I think the Sagittarians also have this need for a deeper understanding of things and knowledge and experience and adventure, and it almost feels like we have to see it all, right? And when I read this poem, I resonated so deeply with it that I knew it was the one for the Sagittarians. I always have this utter, undying freaking urge to bolt out into the wild any chance I get. That it's just, it had to be the one. The last one, my sweet, sweet Capricorns. I know you don't like to be called sweet, and that's why I will call you sweet. um, my stoic Capricorns, I think this is the perfect one for you. The Bluebird by Charles Bukowski. There is a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out. I am too tough for him. I say, stay in there. I am not going to let anybody see you. There is a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I pour whiskey on him and inhale cigarette smoke. And the whores and bartenders and the grocery clerks never know that he is in there. There's a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I am too tough for him. I say, stay down. Do you want to mess me up? Do you want to screw up the works? Do you want to blow my book sales in Europe? There is a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I am too clever. I only let him out at night sometimes, when everybody's asleep. I say, I know that you're there. Don't be sad. And this, my people, I think the Capricorns love to hide their softness. And this is just to tell you that there is softness within them, no matter what they say. Capricorns love to be the older, more mature, more experienced, and more calm person. They don't joke around, they don't try to act innocent, or they're not into any of those tricks. They are clearly evaluating everything that you're doing. But they also have this stoic exterior, they also have this hard exterior that they don't want to show you like what's under in there. And I think what is inside is a bluebird. So that is that. Let me know what you thought about each of the poems. Did you like yours? Did you resonate more with your moon sign or your ascendant or whatever? And I will see you in the next one.